Hello, lovely people. How are you doing over this intense time of reformation? We're reforming to create the new earth through each one of us, and it can be quite tiring at the moment. So, time to be gentle with ourselves and start to create the framework for each one of us with a new pattern. This is often really challenging for the ego, and so this is a challenge for the warrior now. Today is Monday, the 12th of July 2021, and we have begun a new wave spell yesterday of Red Moon. We've begun a new 52-day cycle, and I've chosen to make the video today because today is a very powerful day of Akashic record. It's White Lunar Dog, and also I've chosen today because tomorrow is an amazing day. So we're here today, that's where we were yesterday, this is where Red Moon began, and so all of these black squares are portal days, Akashic record. Today, because it's White Lunar Dog, White Dog is the ancestral pattern that we're here to heal, to come into condition-free love by healing all the conditional love experiences that have wounded us. And the planet is Mercury, which is the same as Red Moon. So Red Moon is the gateway. It's the 9th mind sign. It's the 9th house in the natal chart. White Dog is the 10th house. 9th house is the gateway, traditionally Sagittarius. And we're in a 260-day cycle that began back in Sagittarius up here on the 15th of December. And this birthing cycle was initiated. So today we've got the Sun in Cancer, and we've got the Moon in Leo. And again, this is just so magical because the Moon is now at the degree that the magic is going to happen at tomorrow, with Venus and Mars coming together to create a sacred alchemical marriage. So I'm just going to read for you the degree of today. A hummingbird feeding at a trumpet vine. Heightened perception, exquisitely poised, brilliant and as fast as can be. You have the genius of seeing things, knowing things, and being there. Overflowing with destiny bounty earned over many lifetimes, yet you bring all of this through with a fine-tuned ability to land in the situation at hand with only as much as can be worked with. You are guided to follow an extraordinary course through the world, which features the perfect opportunities to tap what is inside in so many different ways. The blessings, the grace, the heart's wonder are super full. As this way of being ripens and matures, it becomes even better. Then you begin to draw out from others the same kind of marvels and wonders, and to make it possible for the vibrancies to spread and grow, with a wildfire capacity to spread good news and bring affirmative realizations wherever they are needed in generous profusion. You work with ever more effortless capacity to bring this world alive. So the energy today is about Mercury. Mercury's come out of its shadow now. In this wave spell yesterday, Mercury went into Cancer. So Mercury is, on one hand, it's our mindset, our created, conditioned mindset that we come in with the DNA, and also the crucible of Cancer, our birth home, our conception, being in our mother, the mother load information being downloaded. If you haven't watched any of Gabor Mate yet, highly recommend him. He talks a lot about this, so that when we're in our mother, we're already learning how to survive, because we're totally, literally plugged in to all her information, all her wounding, all her journey, as we sit and grow in the womb until we're ready to emerge. And when we emerge, we have our star code. This is why the emergence, the conception, and this time of year is so crucial to understanding who we are as a warrior, why we're here at this time, and how we can use this information to embody our spirit and the sacred feminine that's coming in. This is a long video today, so you might want to divide it into chunks and take time really to go through this when it feels good for you. This is such a powerful day with such powerful energy. I'm simply sharing from my perspective, which is what anyone does. And understanding this is one of the key evolutionary stages for human beings who realize that each one of us is an expression of the divine in a human being body. And my understanding is that each one of us comes here, has chosen to come here at this time, has chosen this particular timeline, has chosen this particular ancestral line, because this ancestral line is a very important focus for what is seeking to clear through healing in order to birth the new earth. So my perspective on the spirit is there is no dark night of the soul. It's a dark night of the human being psyche. The soul is a different being that comes into this avatar. And this avatar that we're in, this human being that we're in, has tremendous potential to expand the more that the human being chooses consciously to heal, to learn about the cosmic codes in order to navigate their path, but first and foremost to learn how to heal their own personal story and become very, very aware of what the challenges are for us as an individual, and how the more that we heal, the more that we can be guided by this higher metacognition from wherever you believe that comes from. So in the Mayan framework, this is a galactic energy. This is a guidance from a consciousness that is higher than the current human being evolution. This is a consciousness that comes from a civilization that has achieved harmony, has achieved a template of trust and light way of living. And so in the dense vibration that we're in on the planet right now, where most people aren't awake yet, and those that are awake aren't healing yet, and those that are healing are mainly healing other people and outside of themselves rather than prioritizing their own personal healing, then it's a challenge right now. So the yellow warrior that we have just been in the previous 13 days. So again, if you're new to watching my videos, if you're new to this language, you don't need to know the language. You just need to focus personally on what happened to you in the last 13 days. If you do have a knowledge of astrology, if you know what your Saturn is, the previous two wave spells of Blue Knight and Yellow Warrior, so the previous 26 days have been focusing on what has been your hell nightmare experience that is a repeating family pattern that makes you feel like you're stuck on the same merry-go-round that you can't get off. And maybe you're finding it's really pushing your buttons, people are pushing your buttons. This is the key to set you free. It's all about us as an individual. That's the most important focus. And how we're feeling right now shows us how we've created our reality. So, again, this is radical for most people. This isn't mainstream. If you're watching this, you're a different human being. If you regularly watch this, you're a very different human being because you are focusing on becoming more consciously aware and using this 260-day tool to really understand your personal soul mission and why you're here at this time. And in a nutshell, that is it. It's to get clear, it's to heal. That's what today is about. Really understanding our own personal ancestral line, and having worked with this energy for 9 years now, I'm in my 10th year, then my experience has been profound around living in Glastonbury, living in a place where it's a heart chakra and third eye chakra of the world, 52 ley lines coming in, zodiac on the landscape here. And it's very, very challenging to be here because it's a super accelerated place of conscious evolution, which means that the ego gets challenged a great deal, that our personality construct starts to become different. And we realize that we've been living an illusion, a delusion for most of our life in so many ways. And of course, what's going on the planet now as well, this is coming to a culmination of awareness and awakening for people. And some people will not evolve with this energy, and it's going to be very challenging for them. And again, it's just getting really clear about that people make choices. We can't rescue them, we can't save them, and we can only help people to help themselves. This is a fundamental truth that women in particular have to be addressing now, because often we have all sorts of delusions and illusions around mothering, rescuing others, saving somebody from their own fate, from their own destiny. And this is what I offer you. Once you start to really understand this system, you understand that each person has made their choice before they came here. It does not mean that they are limited in that choice. It means that they have to step up and have courage to integrate their personality, integrate their shadow, and be able to do whatever it takes to get clear of the old story. That is super challenging in itself, especially if you've got a family, especially if you've got people who you love who are making different choices and who aren't taking responsibility, doing their due diligence, and going down a very challenging path of suffering because of that choice. And it will also be creating suffering for people watching that as well. So it's not an easy time. And Again, I'm going to share my perspective. This is not about love and light time. This is not about focusing purely on love and light. This is about setting an intention for what we've come to create. So, having the vision, having the dream, having the heartfelt passion to go and create that still, no matter what is going on, to keep focusing on that. And in doing so, to focus on learning all about the human psychology, the biology, and understanding the shadow, and primarily understanding the narcissist empath relationship. So, becoming an expert on that, however, with a caveat. So, often when we discover about the narcissist, and I'm guessing that most people watching this video will be aware of that pattern, one of the first stages is focusing totally on the other, the narcissist, and red flags, how to protect ourselves from them, and all of that energy. And it's an essential part of the path. If we can, though, this is also an ego distraction around trying to keep ourselves safe. So mastery learning around this is the priority is always on focusing on yourself. Put your oxygen mask on first and focus on yourself. What are your buttons that are being pushed? What is your story? Understanding this script for yourself is the key. With the new moon in Cancer arriving on Saturday morning, we had a new potentiality to notice our feelings, and that's becoming more heightened now with this Mercury going into Cancer. This is absolutely essential to understanding who we are as a warrior, because what we think gives rise to feelings, and these feelings affect our whole biology, our physiology, and in particular the amygdala in the brain, which is why it's so important to understand how to work with this aspect of ourselves on a mind-body level. The spirit will come in more as a result of clearing this old story. So this is really, really fundamental. This is fundamental to Red Moon, and it's fundamental to White Dog. Mercury, changing our mindset and not doing it simply with a logical mind. So not trying to focus purely on positive affirmations, trying to be positive, trying to do some sort of spiritual bypass, and not being authentic. Red Moon 52-day process is all about authenticity and becoming the beacon of light from a place of authenticity, not quoting dogma, not projecting other people's stories. It's about really knowing ourselves, owning and taking full responsibility for where we are on our path and for how we respond to events. If we're in a place of chaos emotionally, then a key mastery stroke at this time is to learn how to take control of our emotional center, to become emotionally intelligent, and to soothe ourselves in a healthy way. Using EFT really allows us to do this. So we're resetting our emotional sat nav. And again, this is essential to the spirit coming in. Often we have overridden our emotional sat nav. Often we don't trust ourselves because we've overridden our gut feeling. So all of this is looking to be rewired now. To be able to really feel allows us to access our intuition. If as a child we were denied our emotional reality, if we had caretakers who told us to shut up when we were being emotional, when we were being angry or sad, stopped us from crying, crying is healing. Crying is truly expressing how that child really feels in that moment for whatever reason. All too often, adults are trying to impose an adult mindset because they're uncomfortable with a child being emotional. And the child needs to be emotional. The child does not have the emotional mindset of the adult. So, telling the child all the reasons around why they shouldn't feel sad or X, Y, Z is simply the adult's story. Allowing the child to express its emotion in a safe way, safe environment where it's not going to hurt itself, for example. Learning how we can feel safe to express all of our emotions and be heard and be accepted and be mirrored back that that's okay. Most of us never had that experience. And so we repress that part of ourselves. And then the story carries on. So this is what I offer you. What we're working with now is coming into emotional balance around what we call negative, what we call shadow emotions. And the universe keeps bringing us these until we learn how to feel all our feelings, to address them, to heal them, to go back and be with our inner child that's still having a rant or is feeling lost or is not knowing which way is up, because when we were children, we were denied our reality. We were told we weren't tapping into some truth. We shouldn't want what we want. And being shown our parents' reflection of where they were emotionally in their personal evolution. And again, this is not a blame. This isn't about blaming anybody. It is what it is. We are what we are. Most people today are not emotionally intelligent. They don't understand what damage they do to their child when they shout loudly or when they use physical violence with their child. I've witnessed many people who are teaching spiritual teachings and yet still not able to be gentle and loving with their own child because of their child's challenging behaviour. And so this is the really key focus. You know, it's going back to basics and becoming in a different way, in an experiential way. It's time for us to stop pretending to be something that we're not in order to survive. How many of us have a persona, a role to play, a mask to wear in society that isn't the real us, that we put on every day, even before all of this happened? Women putting their makeup on, putting a face on, putting a brave face on, and then paying the price for it on the inside, paying the price for it on the outside, because it isn't what we really want, it isn't where we want to be, it isn't how we want to live. But we think that we have to do this to survive. And this goes back generation after generation after generation. So becoming very aware of this is really key. And today, on Monday, if you're watching this on another day, then you may have become very aware of a particular storyline that is repeating for you. So write it down. Begin a journal if you haven't already, a book of shadows, or use an online resource. Maybe you want to blog about it, maybe you do a private blog about it, maybe you create a PDF for yourself. And this is how I've been working with myself for many years, and also how I work with other people. Learning how to address, be with, understand our shadow is the most important part of being an alchemist, doing the warrior path, the red skywalker, coming into conscious evolution. Red moon begins every year on the 26th of July. We begin a new 13-step moon calendar. So each month we have a red moon energy, and it lasts for 28 days. And this is our sacred feminine coming in. This is how I choose to see it. So whatever was happening for you last July, 26th of July, we're now coming to a closing of that energy to begin a new one on the 26th of July this year. So what was initiated for you back then? I'm sure everybody's got a big topic because of everything that's been happening on the planet. So what was initiated for you in Leo time, in heart time, in your child time? The sun shines brightest in Leo because Leo is connected to the sun, just as Cancer is connected to the moon. So this time of year, as we're coming into that gateway point, so we've got the Lion's Gate opening up soon. All of this is such a magical time, and the magic is really in the storyline that isn't visible yet. So to use your imagination, imagine that you had a map of your whole lifetime here with your destiny potentiality on it, only it's written in invisible ink. As you face each challenge, more of the map becomes visible. As you do what is required of you, which is healing your shadow story and not doing that behavior anymore. No behavior that hurts ourselves or any other, being the warrior that is impeccable. No more childish behavior. No more doing something because we like it, even though we know it hurts us. This is key to the narcissist pattern. So the more that we become experts on how we are recovering from that addiction to whatever the narcissist has shown us. And again, you can get really focused on this and understand that anybody coming in to your circle that you've been plugged into as an empath, they have held a counterbalance in some way. They've held an ancestral story in some way, and becoming a sleuth using astrology and using tapping can really help you uncover this more and more. And prioritizing the healing, because the healing will reveal this anyway, regardless of whether you do the astrology or the cosmic code. The healing will give you the clues, because this is the God self, the hue of the human coming in. The God and the goddess coming in for us more and more because we've cleared the human being story. The mind calendar is a tool. It's mind-blowing. It helps us understand and navigate what's coming in from the galactic sun for our cosmic evolution. It gives us a very clear framework to follow, even though initially it may not seem clear. The Gregorian calendar is a narcissistic pattern. It keeps us on the labyrinth. It keeps us stuck at the 12th step. Any 12-step program is a 12-step program. It helps us become clear about our story so far. If we're ready to accept ourselves, to take full responsibility for our choices, that is a critical step. Using the 260-day calendar gives you the edge, because this is the goddess key. The number 13, the shift, takes us beyond the labyrinth, takes us into alignment with new cycles coming in from the Great Mother, Red Dragon, number 1. So if you're a Red Dragon, then you are holding so many keys. So, excuse me. So noticing what your archetype is a first step. So I'm just going to recover from that. So key codes for when this began yesterday. So it began on Sunday, the 11th of July 2021. So on that day, we had Athena, which is power, very much the energy of the moment around the sacred feminine coming in. Very important. So have the courage to be the heart warrior and be authentic. The Mayan oracle for the 52-day process, using my energy, of course, because I'm picking the cards, is Ahau. The sun, the 20th Mayan sign, the light, planet Pluto in Capricorn retrograde at the moment, and the empire is crumbling. All the old masculine stories that are no longer serving us, abuse of power, the structure is now coming down. The Emperor. Again, these are amazing cards. Check them out if you haven't already. And this card is number 4, which is connected to yellow seed. So the mask, the coping mechanisms, the harming that we do because of the structure that we're in. The slavery structure, the empire structure, is based on imbalance and self-harm. All the things that we've been taught are treats by people who own large corporations and are wanting to sell products and make a lot of money. They don't care about the individual. They don't care about how they affect the environment with their products, how it's made, what they use. They don't care about anything other than money and power. And this is endemic on the planet. This is connected to all the ancestral stories of what will happen at this time. This is the end of times. And this has to happen so that we understand what happens when the human heart is corrupted and it does not care. So I'm just going to share with you, when people don't feel, this is the extreme narcissist pattern. Okay, so again, I'll put the link underneath because Eli does an amazing total massive, because these cards are massive, information on here. So this is about Aries, the ram, being the emperor. So this is a sign of the hero, and this is key to the astrology over this 13-day process as well. So we're changing our hero and heroine story now. And it's interesting, actually, one thought that struck me yesterday was if you look at the months, you get all the initials together. And once you get to July, you've got July, August, September, October, November, which spells Jason, which is Jason and the Argonauts. So again, all these myths hold a process that we can go on. If you're not familiar with Jason, if you've never watched the film, which used to be one of my favourite films as a child, it holds the whole process of what we do as an individual. Of course, lots of these stories, the majority of them that we see in the mainstream, are based on the man, because we've been in thousands of years of the masculine repressing the sacred feminine. And again, this is simply a point of evolution on the wheel of discovering and bringing in that energy. So this is the animus. And in terms of the Mayan energy, number 1, magnetic, is the feminine. And number 3, electric, is the masculine. So the masculine mindset is what we are seeking to heal. The fear that we repress is what we're seeking to heal. Only in doing this will we change what we attract. This is a fundamental step for the adept. The more we clear the fear, the more we learn tools of how to do that, the more we allow our thoughts to come up, even if we're scared of them, and just let them be felt, let them be heard, let them be healed, the more that we become clear and free to live our destiny rather than somebody else's plan for us. So this whole 52 days for me is about personal power and leadership, building a pure base of knowledge whilst remaining open-minded, pointing towards success, authority, stability, and ambition in gain or achievement. Self-realization of life force and personal power mirrors to you your own creativity, leadership, and able responsibility. The elements of fire, warm, nurturing, electric, dynamic, and vital. Okay, and today the cards are birth. What do you want to birth through yourself? As women do. We are the gateway to new life. All new life comes through us. Whether that's literally a child or whether it's a project, it's the same dynamic in many respects. Okay, so I birth new paths to follow and new directions in my life. Strengthen me to do this with love. It takes courage to change mindset, behavior. It takes courage to heal the shadow, to face all the parts of us that are vulnerable, all those old storylines that we've done where we may feel that we've done something wrong and not want to look at that, I offer you that's absolutely where we have to go to be free of that, because that story is running underneath. It's creating our reality every day. It's what's driving the bus. And so often, when people are unconscious of this, they get frustrated because they don't realize how this system works and why, if that area, the iceberg, is ignored, nothing else can change. This is the key place that we have to go into the valley of death. The only thing we have to fear is how we feel about ourselves. And once we become accomplished at going there, feeling our feelings, just being with what is, letting go of resistance to anything, accepting, we become stronger, we get clear of the mind fog, we stop going around in circles, we start making different choices. This is fundamental to understand, is that if we don't heal the emotion, we won't change our behaviour. And that is just how it works. So today we've got the same Mayan card. So we're still in yellow sun. And we have now moved to step 5, where we've got the Hierophant. So again, I'm just going to quickly, I'll post a link underneath and do a little snapshot there. So the 5th Mayan sign is Red Serpent, which is revealing our relationship to ourselves, how we've learned to relate. This is about Taurus energy. We have got Uranus in Taurus at the moment. The North Node goes to Taurus in the new year, at the beginning of the new year. So again, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this. Again, huge amount of information about this card. It's a major arcana, so it's a major template. So as he says, Eli, there's so much meaning here that great study is required. And basically, it's what I've already said, it's what I've already talked about, which is the more that we heal the human being story, the more our spirit can come in to guide us. Because on every level, we're healing, we're doing different behaviours, we're ready to do something new that is in alignment with truth and wisdom. We've got off the ego drama train, and everything that we're doing in our life, we are moving away from toxic behavior. And so naturally, as a part of doing that path in itself, what comes with that is a whole different way of being and a different outside circumstance. Divine wisdom, manifestation and explanation, teaching mainly in occult wisdom and or seeking guidance in that area. A choice of self-alignment to a particular philosophy, religion or set of beliefs to which a great deal of loyalty is felt. There is a marriage occurring between the spirit and the soul. So again, this is totally in alignment with the astrology and what's happening in the next couple of days, but in particular tomorrow. Tomorrow is just going to be such a huge day with Blue Electric Monkey. Tomorrow is the day of alchemy. It's a portal day. It's also a clear sign day. And if you want to check out more about clear signs, go on my blog, flowwithjo.com, and have a look at 13 clear signs. Lots of info there about Pakal Votan. And again, just as I'm saying that, Pakal Votan is yellow galactic sun. We are on this, just put back so I can see that I'm doing this right. Okay, so we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in. So we're 11 in of these. So there's 13 strands that we go through in the whole 260 days. Okay, so we're in the 11th one, and the 11th one is what we are letting go of. So if I trace this back up to the top, we began in coming into the rhythm of what the Great Mother is bringing us. And the Great Mother is bringing us truth to take us out of this codependent, imbalanced slavery pattern that we've been in for around about, I think, 5,000 and just over 5,000 years. This is what came in 2012, December 21st. We started a new pattern then with the Mayan. It was misinterpreted by people who were looking at the drama ego story again, and as the end of the world. It's the end of times, meaning new ones are beginning. So getting into balance, and then at the bottom we are going to be here in the green castle. So we've transited from the yellow to the green, and we're going to be at yellow crystal sun. So we're going to be clear about what this time is about, and this time is about transformation of the shadow. Blue storm, number 19 Mayan sign, number 20 yellow sun, transformation of the shadow. Pluto is the planet. All the signs have a planet, and they're each twinned with another. So in this 52-day castle, we're in the 5th castle of the heart. We're ready to master this process now and understand that's it. That's your life mission. That's what you're here for, is to be really, really, really focused on yourself and your story, and stop doing anything that harms you as soon as you possibly can. Because once you make this radical shift, you are on a different path straight away. If you find your ego has an objection to something that you're holding on that you know isn't good for you, so like alcohol, for example, like sugar, like any of the slavery products from hundreds of years ago that that we know creates harm. In terms of sugar, totally ruins your teeth, for example, just on that level. Coffee, tea have caffeine in, and that in itself is a stimulant, and it's a poison, and it's like any other stimulant, there's always a price to pay after you've stopped using it. And why do we need to take stimulants? That's the other thing. Why do we need to get intoxicated? Why is that fun? What's wrong with being in a beautiful space in nature? Why do we need anything more than that? Well, often it's because maybe we're with a group of people that we're not comfortable with, maybe we're in a job that we don't like, maybe we're being bullied. All of this fundamentally comes down to being bullied into ways of being that somebody makes a profit out of at our expense. That's the general pattern. That's all we've got to look at. And then starting to go through the process of detoxing ourselves and moving away from any intoxicating situations that aren't really good for us, that aren't healthy for us. So I know it's not easy to do. I have been dealing with all of this myself for years. I'm still on the wheel on that on some levels. And again, being gentle with ourselves as well at this time. We've gone through a massive, massive time of wanting to use our comfort things, whatever they are, whether it's shopping, eating, vegging on Netflix, whatever it is. Um, it's just becoming very aware of it and starting to stop doing it. EFT will help you get off anything, anything. Um, and it's amazing. So if you haven't checked it out yet, check it out. Emofree.com is Gary Craig's website, and there's free manuals on there, free resources everywhere for EFT. It is wow. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about the astrology over the next 2 weeks, because again, it's going to be an amazing 2 weeks. Just had a little visitor as well today, and another cat. So attracting a lot of cat energy at the moment. I've been trying to get this cat's attention in the neighbourhood all the time I've lived here, really. And today, he or she has literally come and looked at me. They're there now outside. It's a type of Siamese, I think, or a Siamese cross. Just looking at me right now as I'm talking. It's really, really magical. So, in terms of tomorrow, as I said, is the moon degree that I've just read out for you, where we're at now. And this is what I love about using these codes to unlock the mysteries of the universe. It's just really, really magical. Psyche asteroid. Now, some people have worked with me and I've used this asteroid, and Black Moon Lilith are at 29 degrees. And Psyche is at 29 degrees in Cancer, I think, at the moment. Black Moon Lilith in Taurus. So again, 29 degrees is the magical degree, is the anoretic degree, is we've spent many lifetimes doing this energy. And so in this particular lifetime, we can look at where that is in our chart and how we can move forward. If you've got 29 degrees in your chart anywhere, then this is so key for you. I've got Venus in Virgo, which is going in shortly after Leo, at 29 degrees. And the next cycle begins in Virgo as well. And I'm starting a major signature system for that as well. So please get in touch with me if you'd like to know more detail about that, how to work with this amazing cycle of the sacred feminine that's coming in on the 1st of September in Virgo. So yeah, just as I'm saying this, having that awakening around that 29 degrees for me is significant. And so the more that we know about these codes and patterns, it helps us understand. And I think that's so key to the healing process as well. So when I work with people, we look at the charts, and even though they might not understand all the astrology, because it's endless astrology, and what you can learn about it, but just little snapshots can help people understand a storyline that they've come in with. And for some people, I've never worked with them before. I intuitively have worked on putting in key asteroids. And when I've talked about what's going on with those story archetypes, they've had huge revelations about what that has meant for them in their childhood, for example. So this is a way that it can be used that is literally mind-blowing and helps us see that we've come here to literally change human evolution by changing ourselves. And that is the miracle of who we are. It's remembering who we are and not getting stuck in the story, But at the same time, healing the story, understanding it is important. So Psyche asteroid is all about the old story, and knowing what our key wounding is. 19 degrees of Leo is the birth of a new life, a new heart story, and changing that Jason and the Argonaut story to a different version now. And we've also got Chiron in Aries, and that's going to go direct as well in this 2-week process, 13 days. And so this is instrumental this time at looking at Chiron is the wound in our story. Chiron in Aries has been there since 2018, so whatever was going on for you back then. And it's at 12 degrees. So again, this is a crystal clear structure, how we can focus on, we're going to be going back over old ground around that. What's the story? How did we create the story? The serenity prayer, again, what can we change? What do we have to accept? What's the universe's stuff? What's our stuff? And how do we co-create, rewire that story? Once we get to the sun coming into 19 degrees Leo, which I think will be around, because I haven't checked this out the exact date, but I think it will be around the Lion's Gate on the 8th of August. Whatever is going to happen tomorrow, we will see the manifestation of that in some way. So that's going to be really, really powerful. So have that focused intent tomorrow to do something amazing for yourself, something you've always wanted to do, something different. Remember, what we do in life echoes in eternity. So every day when we're doing something, a pattern, a behavior, as much as possible, whilst also being as authentic as possible, remember that that's shaping our future. So if we act in a childlike way, if we act in a revenge way, a rebellion way that isn't coming from that higher sense, it's coming from that child hurt place, then we're going to have to take what goes with that, and it's whatever you put out comes back to you. Remember that too. So it might not come back to you straight away, but at some point in your life, you will get to re-experience that and be on the receiving end of it, or in a future life. So again, it's being the impeccable warrior. I know it's tough at times, and again, I use tapping so that if I'm having a rant, before I have a rant with anybody else, if I'm, get triggered, is I tap on it and get as clear as possible as I can before I actually interact with another human being. Otherwise, it just carries on that same old story. I believe that what's coming in for us now is we are becoming the embodiment of the architect of the Aquarian age. So we're learning what has created this narcissistic, empathic tango, if you like. I'm speaking lightly about it and smiling. However, I don't mean to make light of any of it because it's so dark, it's so hurtful, it's come from such a terrible, terrible place, and it's carrying on, and it's being used in a way by wounded children in adult bodies. That's the key to understand. So yeah, we've come to be experts on this. Experientially, we are experts on this. We've done many lifetimes. If you're watching this, we've done many, many lifetimes on this. So we've got to really get into a really focused sword of truth place to work with this energy. So today we have got Leo Moon, as we said. We've got Mercury in Cancer, trining Jupiter in Pisces, and Jupiter's going backwards now, retrograde, and it's at 1 degree. So it's like initiating this story about how we learn how our feelings come from behaviors, thoughts. So, first of all, if you know that certain people are abusive to you in their behavior in whatever way, you really want to stop being around them. That's the simplest version, isn't it? You know, and all the excuses that we come up for around why we want to be with that person, it's time to stop doing that. If you know that going to a certain place or a job or any of any sort of environment makes you feel ill, then it's time to go into a deeper discovery around what that's about and heal it and stop doing it. And so there's lots of ways now to be solution focused. That's the key thing, isn't it? And not keep doing the addictions, not keep having boundaries that are way too lax with some people. It's a time for being really disciplined and being authentic with ourselves, having a reality check, saying, oh, come on, you know, you can't keep doing X expecting Y when all the time it's created Z. You know, it's just a reality check. We keep doing the same old thing. Maybe we're different people, but then expecting a different outcome. And that is not how it works. And we do know that, you know, so it's being grown ups and taking full responsibility. Because if individuals don't do that, how is the collective going to change? It cannot. Tomorrow we've got the portal, and another key thing is that the North Node, which has been in 10 degrees of Gemini, so the North Node is where the collective soul purpose is going, and for me it's my North Node at the moment as well. So again, knowing what your North Node is really important. The last time this was in was when 9/11 was happening, and so what was going on for you then around that time, and everything that happened with that. And that is very significant, as well as to knowing what's happening now and how it relates back to that time on the general platform of the world and the corporates. And so if you think back to then, what created mindsets for you back then, what changed? Because it was a huge, huge shift on the planet. And so it goes to 9 degrees tomorrow. So that's a gateway point. So for me personally, again, I'm just saying this so that you can see how you can understand your code, is my North Node's at 10 degrees. So for the past 66 days, it's been in this energy. And I can see, we can all see what has manifest, because it's number 10. What has manifest because of our thoughts that give rise to our feelings, that give rise to how the holograph has to reflect back to us because of all of this inside projector that's beaming out. Yeah. So whatever you love about what you have manifest now, note that down, because that's really important. And note down how you created that. What mindset did you have? Because, hey, you know, you want to be doing more of that, don't you? At the same time, what's manifest now that you don't like? What beliefs do you have to have about yourself in order for those to be manifest? What's come before? And a lot of things, you know, have been there for a long time in order to be where we are now. As a warrior, what challenges have you had to go through with your sword of truth, cutting through the spell, the sleeping beauty? I'm going to come back to that in a minute with the astrology. So tomorrow, yeah, going to be an amazing day. Focus on that. Focus on doing something that sets your heart on fire, feels magical, whatever that is. On Wednesday, it's Yellow Self-Existing Human Day. It's step 4 of the 13-day process. That's going to be a huge day as well. So we've got Mercury at 4 degrees of Cancer. So again, it's going to be revealing to you what your structure is of your mindset about what you're still holding on to from childhood, what you haven't healed yet, what's still going on in your home, what's still going on in your sacred feminine. And the other important thing about this this Venus and Mars, it will be Virgo moon tomorrow. So again, that fire energy is going to start to come into the manifestation, the reality check with Virgo. And this is going to again be instrumental when we go into Virgo in September. So we're getting a heads up before we go into this energy later on. So the more that we become consciously aware of what's going on now for ourselves, not everybody else, and what's going on, in the collective, this is the key focus. So Mars in Leo was leading the way, the masculine, the warrior. After tomorrow, Venus will be leading the way. So we'll have a shift of the sacred feminine is leading the way in whatever way for us as a human being. And to be self-existing is to be free from codependency. That's the key. So every day 4 of every 13-day process is self-existing. And so each one of these days is a step that takes us through a process. And they just have a slightly different flavour in every 13-day process. Okay, so the whole concept around this is moving off the codependency relationship into interdependent. And so that there's no unhealthy reliance on others or products or systems. That's what we're moving away from. On Thursday is the 5th day, and it's red overtone Skywalker. So we're going to have clarity really around how we are mastering our creating heaven on earth process. So the Skywalker is the human being, is the number 13 mind sign, who is getting into a place of clarity about their old story, how we do all this process, how we create a new story, so that heaven is a place on earth. I'm not going to sing that. So I did used to like it. Okay, so we have Chiron going retrograde on Thursday, and we also have the Sun trining Neptune. So the Sun in Cancer trining Neptune in Pisces. So again, that light's going on around the truth of where we actually are, rather than putting the rose tinted glasses on. How many people put the rose tinted glasses on, reframe everything? Oh yeah, but it's go into our personal feelings. That's the key. And also focusing on what we want to create, because we're in this new moon energy. So this is all about, setting that intention. And so really the key intention around this is, if something's made me feel bad, then I need to analyze that and understand what that's about. Is that about me? Am I somehow distorting this? Am I putting a poor me story on it? Or am I being realistic about, if I'm around somebody who's a bully, then it makes me feel sick. I don't know how to handle it. They won't listen to me. They won't hear me, blah, 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 all of that. Then it's right. Okay, so I've got to cut the tie there and stop doing that. I've got to get out of that relationship, no matter what it takes, because I'm never going to be well. I'm never going to have a heaven on earth when I've got somebody bullying me all the time, somebody who isn't evolved. That's the clear cut decision, is as we're moving ahead, we've got to be in a reality space. And that can be tough at times, because often we're stuck in a people-pleasing mode or fear mode, or oh God, I can't survive if I don't have this job, or it's difficult. I'm not saying it's easy. However, we have to take radical self-responsibility for this. Friday is a beautiful day, and we're coming into the balance of white rhythmic wizard. So coming into the swing of getting in balance. And we've got the moon will be in Libra then. So harmony, we come into harmony through healing the harm. The other thing that I wanted to mention was that we are building up to a full moon in Aquarius, which will be actually in the UK. It will be just on the last day. Technically, it will be in White Wind wave spell, and that will be at 1 degrees. And so going back to the fairy Sleeping Beauty story, on Saturday, so Saturday the 17th of July, which is blue resonant eagle as well. So we're at the top of the pyramid on day 7. What's resonating with truth and authenticity, and what isn't. And so that's going to be a powerful day. The moon's going to be in Libra at 24 degrees. The sun opposes Pluto. So the sun in Cancer at 25, Pluto at 25 retro. So again, it's shining light on this patriarchal, controlling slavery system and the shadow story, basically. And this will also happen again at the end of the year. So this is going to be something that's coming up. And so also on that day, we've got the sun and Pluto opposition. We've got Eris involved. And this is Eris, the discontented fairy, the Sleeping Beauty story. And that's at 24 degrees of Aries. So Hormia, how may I, is at 27 degrees Libra on that day as well. And this is what's known as a cardinal grand cross. So yeah, could be a challenging day. So I think that's enough for now around what's coming. I hope you have an amazing 13 days of authenticity and being the beacon of light. And I hope you have a super fantastic magical day tomorrow. If you want to know any more information about these cycles, the next one coming up, and in particular the big one starting on the 1st of September, and you'd like to know more to take part, please message me. I'll put a contact form underneath and we can have a clarity call so you can chat about what's coming up for you. So lots of love and have an amazing time. Bye for now.